make sure do audio checks here. So before we get started, make sure it does come up on the screen. We should be live already. There you go. Make sure do audio checks here. It's a little staticky, but we're okay. Okay, we're ready.
Okay.
All right, welcome back, guys, to another live stream from Subtle Asian Voices. Today we are joined by Lynda, who's going to talk a little bit about dating in the DMV, or the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. I'm going to have Lynda do a brief introduction in just a second, but before we do that, actually no, why don't we go ahead and start the introductions and then we'll do the shot.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Lynda. I'm born and raised in the DMV. I am a day trader, and I really like business stuff and anything entrepreneurial. That's kind of my thing.
Okay, cool. So before we actually get into the questions, because they're going to get juicy, let's go ahead and do a quick shot. And
cheers.
Cheers. Oh, great. Of course, I like spill something on. Good. Okay. All right, now we're ready. So, questions. Let's start off with a very broad and general question here. Describe. Why are you laughing? Describe your dating experience in the DMV.
Dating the DMV, I've been here like pretty much all my life, so it's a very small pool of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Small pool of people.
Yeah, it's a very small world. I just want to say that.
As in, you run into a lot of the same people, or you date within the same circles, like, because DMV is pretty large in itself, right?
It is, and it's not. I feel like if you date, there are chances that you might run into the people that you have dated in the past and stuff like that. I've had that once or twice.
Like, bring up one of those experiences. What do you mean by that? How
Like,
did they come up in the past?
Just in general, you might know someone who knows someone else. They might be a friend of a friend, and you might have matched with both of them. Or because everyone's on apps, and there's only so much mileage in the DMV.
Yeah.
If you do like a radius, there's only so much.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because right, go ahead.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's good or bad. Sometimes it's like a little, awkward, or you might run into them at dim sum or something like that, or you might be getting bubble tea and then you aren't looking your best and you run into them just because you kind of live in the same area.
Okay. Because like maybe sometimes it could be good in the sense that you have someone to vet those people too, right? Or no?
But do you want to kiss the same guy with your friend? I don't know.
I mean, so you ran into a lot of situations where your friends dated the same guy?
I've had a handful, yeah.
Is that weird?
I mean, at this point, it's not, because everyone's just trying to find their person.
Okay. So I guess overall, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe the dating experience in the DMV? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, 5 being average.
I wouldn't know, because I haven't really tried dating outside of the DMV. I have tried swiping in other cities when I was traveling and stuff, but it was never with the intent of seeing somebody seriously. So I guess I can't really. I only have my perception thus far. I'd give it a 5. I don't really have anything else to compare it to.
That's fair. What about dating during COVID? In the past year, was it non-existent, existent? How did that go? What was your experience like?
I actually loved dating during COVID.
Why is that?
Because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to drive out to meet them. You don't have to put on hair and makeup. You just are in the comfort of your own home. And if it doesn't work out, your internet might have just cut off.
Did you do that before?
No, my internet is sometimes kind of spotty, so it was unintentional, and I'll just call back or something. But if it didn't go well, then I wouldn't have to call back.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be a lie either.
That would be fair. So it was good in that aspect where you didn't have to meet them in person. It was efficient, all that kind of stuff. But did you not meet anyone in person then? It was always Zoom kind of virtual dates?
I had like at the very beginning of the pandemic, I didn't meet anyone in person, but like later towards the end when if they had said like, oh, I had gotten tested because of something else, then I would meet them because I'm like, oh my god, finally someone who got tested on their own. They tested negative, not because they wanted to go on a date with me, but like for instance, one person, they said that one of their friends that they hung out with took the bar exam, and someone in that testing room might have contracted COVID, so their friend had to get tested and they also had to get tested, and they were like, oh yeah, I tested negative a couple days ago. I was like, don't see anyone up until Saturday. I'll go on a date with you in person.
Oh, so you did go on in-person dates with people during COVID then?
It was because they tested negative, and I was like, okay, let's go see this person in person.
Okay.
But other than that, I was like doing things online with people. I was like playing like Words with Friends with
Okay.
one guy, and then yeah, it just kind of died down.
How about this? During COVID, how would you rate your dating experience then? From same thing, 1 to 10.
I think with ease and convenience and the ability to just kind of like see if you hit it off with someone so easily, I would give it like an 11.
An 11. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Chibi Ryan has some emoji. Cool. Would you say 11?
Yeah.
Oh, you really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the convenience factor.
Okay. I appreciate that too. It was very nice. You can like not have to drive out. Very efficient.
Yeah.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, did you ever dress up for a Zoom date or no?
No, I just brushed my hair.
Okay. Fair. Let's ask another question here. So very, very popular question, and I was mentioning this before, and I always think about this, is like, it's always fascinating to know what girls swipe right on and what they swipe left on. And everyone I interview is always like something very different, right? So what are some red flags for you that you would, on a dating app, you would swipe left on a guy for?
Some things that I would swipe left on would be if they had too much facial hair or any sort of facial hair.
Why? Why is that? Is that unattractive in general, or like?
Yeah, it's just not my preference.
Okay.
So like it is a very, very immediate like swipe left. I don't even like second guess it or anything like that.
Okay. Facial hair.
Facial hair. If their profile sounds like too generic, I'll swipe left. Any sort of fish pictures.
So what's wrong with the fish pictures? I hear that a lot. What is wrong with having fish pictures in your profile?
I think it's just like I associate it with a different type of person. I associate it with someone who's like a little bit more interested in the outdoors, which I'm not really that into.
Okay.
I associate it with someone who would choose to go fishing for recreational purposes.
You don't like fishing?
All the time. And in my ideal like dating life, I don't see myself sitting on the water with them trying to catch fish, unless they like know how to sashimi it and make sushi. Okay. I don't think it'd be something that I'd be like, oh wow,
so no fish,
like super like type
okay
of situation. And I also like try to look for if they have like a stressful job. My big thing is like I hope that like down the line they'll still be able to keep their hair. So if like they have a stressful job, if they look like they're having a receding hairline, if they're balding, they're already bald, or
those are no's. Those are swipe lefts.
Yeah, those are swipe lefts. Or if like I try to sometimes look to see if they have pictures with their family on there. Sometimes people include like, graduation pictures, like back in the day, or like even now, I guess. If they have like graduation pictures and their family's in it, I try to see like who's mom, who's dad, who's grandma, who's grandpa, and like see if they have like a lush head of hair. If they don't, it's kind of like
So you're not attracted to guys who are balding, like, or bald men?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also long hair.
Okay. Good to know. Fair. So those are some of the any more red flags that you have that you'll swipe left on?
It's like little small petty things.
Like?
If
We're helping the guy audience out here. What are those things that guys can do too?
It's like if they have a cat.
What's wrong with the cat?
I'm allergic.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's not petty.
I think it's petty. It's like
No, that's
their
you're
choice
allergic.
in pets.
No, that's you don't want to be have an anaphylactic reaction to pets.
Or any sort of situation where they are like a marathon runner or like they're super fit. My ideal weekend is spent like sleeping in.
Oh, okay.
I have a friend that like did a marathon. I had to wake up at like 5 a.m. and then cheer him on, but it's because they're my homie. Like I'll do that for them, but I don't think I want to do that.
So you want a guy with a dad bod?
Well.
No dad bod.
I'm not saying no to it, but I'm not like seeking it out. And like it depends on all.
But you don't want a guy that's fit.
I don't want a guy who's too fit.
Okay.
We have a lot of like football players in the area because of the Redskins. Well, now they're called the Washingtonians, but or like people who are really into sports or lacrosse and like rowing and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or like people who do the tough mudder.
Yeah. Not your thing.
No.
Okay.
Those people are just too intense. I'm like very intimidated.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
Okay. Another question then is, what are some of your worst dating experiences? Like, do you have any good stories? You seem like you would have a lot of good stories about bad dating experiences.
Like first dates?
Yeah, let's go first dates. Those are the best.
I think the one that comes to mind for like worst first date, and it would have to be like this person that I like. At the time I was like working long hours, and so I didn't like spend too much time vetting the people that I hadn't like started vetting people that I was like trying to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on a date with a person who they seemed okay like on their profile, but I don't really know them that much. We just kind of exchanged a few words. And so when I went on the date, I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't really walk in with any expectations, and they had lied about like their height. And
it's like significantly, like what did they say their height was, and what did their height seem?
I think they said their height was like 5'7", but they were like 5'2".
Oh, that's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah. I don't know what ruler he's using, but he did not buy it. A really good ruler. He did not use good measurements.
So how was that first impression though? Like when you got was he already there? Like when did you notice the height difference?
So like he lived in Crystal City. It's pretty far from me, but he had just come back from like a trip from New York, and so we had already had something planned, but because he was stuck in traffic, it kind of pushed our date back, and I was like, okay, just to make things convenient, I'll like come out to you so that you don't have to like travel too far because you've already like done so much traveling today. Mm-hmm. And so I drove out like to him, and he picked a restaurant underneath his apartment complex. Mm-hmm. And so when he was I was like waiting at my car, and I was like waiting for him to come out, and he came out of his apartment complex, and I was like, oh, hi, how are you doing? And as he approached me, I was like, wait, like my understanding of like depth perception is the closer things get to you, the taller you get. But
he got shorter.
His height was the same.
Well, for reference for the audience out there, he seemed like what height and how tall are you?
I'm 5'4", so like for me, if your personality is great, I don't mind the height too much.
Wait, then what's your preference for height?
My preference is like my height or taller usually, but I'll make exceptions if the person like can really carry a conversation.
So you would date someone that's shorter than you?
I would, but I wouldn't want someone who lied about it.
So he was shorter than you.
But he lied.
But he is shorter than you, right?
Yeah.
And he lied.
So
okay. So go back to this whole thing because I'm kind of curious. So as he's walking towards you, he's getting smaller.
Yeah, he's getting towards me, and I'm like, hold up. Why is this man not getting taller? And so I was like, okay, this man lied. This is kind of like.
So then, like.
This isn't a bad first impression because I'm like, if you can lie about something so simple as like, I'm gonna be able to confirm it as soon as I meet you. Why would you lie about something like that? It just kind of gave me like it rubbed me the wrong way, like just off the initial meeting.
So how did the rest of the date go then? And did you confront him on the height?
No, I don't think it's something to confront because I feel like if he had to lie about it, it's clearly like an insecurity. Okay. And if it's already his insecurity, he knows he's lying. So why should I bring it up? So the date did not get better. So what happened on the date was we went in and we started. The hostess came in, was there, and we like. I told you like we were eating in the restaurant underneath his apartment. So we went in. It was a place that like it was pretty like late in the night. It was like 8:30, 9, almost close to closing time. But we were just like trying to meet up just to feel it out. So we came in, the hostess seated us at the bar, and his feet like dangled.
You're like just trashing this guy.
I was like, why did he pick the bar? We could have just sat in the booth.
Maybe he likes to have his legs dangle. You know?
I don't know. And anyways,
he can, like, swing his legs.
I'm not trashing his height. I was just like, he just lied. Okay. And so the date kind of went like this. So we went in, we were seated at the bar, we started ordering, and we ordered the same thing. And as we were talking, I kind of noticed that he was very fast in the pace that he was talking. Like, you know how when you watch a YouTube video, sometimes you kind of want to speed things up so you can like watch it faster?
You want to slow it down?
Sometimes, think of it like this. You're watching a normal YouTube video and then you speed it 1.5. That is his normal talking pace.
Oh, that's not your thing? Or was it stressful?
It was a little stressful. Just kind of like, how much conversation are you trying to make that you're talking so fast? Okay. So there was that. And then while we were talking, I asked him like questions, and then he asked me questions, and I was like noticing that he was like really active. So
too active for your liking.
I was like, oh, what do you do? He was like, oh, I'm a consultant. And I was like, what do you like to do for fun? He was like, oh, well, I like to play soccer, and I also like to do martial arts. I was like, ooh.
Too much.
It was a lot of physical activity.
Okay.
But good for you. You like to stay in good health.
So far, it's not like too bad of a date. It's just like seems like incompatibilities, if anything. I mean, the height thing, the lying thing is not great. But other than that, so far not too bad in terms of like awkwardness or.
It wasn't awkward. He talked over me in some situations, and then later on, he wasn't really trying to get to know me.
Did he talk about himself a lot?
Yeah, he talked about himself a lot. So the natural thing I did was just kind of like ask him questions back. Oh. Just so like if he felt like having a podcast interview, then I would I would just continue to just ask questions because it was like, maybe you need this moment to just kind of have someone ask you about yourself. So I just did that pretty much the whole night, and then he started like talking about his partying experiences.
You don't like partying? Well,
there's nothing wrong, but he was like 30 and he was talking about his blackout stories.
Oh, yeah.
And he showed me pictures
of him blacking out.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that something you like?
No, it's not.
If a girl goes, you don't even know how many times I blacked out last week, would that be like oh, okay, she likes to have a good time?
I wouldn't say it's like I guess it depends on the purpose, because I've had girls do that before. They're just like talking about how drunk they were or how much they party, but there's different categories where you put people, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this is not long term kind of thing, but okay. So mainly seems like incompatibilities.
It wasn't just that. I just thought it was like a turnoff that he would be into that sort of thing.
Okay.
And like so happy to express it, like so proudly to express it on a first date.
How old were you at the time?
I was 24, 25.
Man, you would. It's like as a guy, I would have thought.
I'm 26 now, by the way.
Yeah, I would have thought that 24-year-olds would still want to party like that. And like I think like sometimes as a guy, especially if there's like a age difference, you might want to relate more to the girl who may be younger. And you might assume that they're 24, they're early 20s, maybe they enjoy partying. Yeah, that was a turnoff.
He did ask me if I partied a lot, and I was like, oh no, not really. And he proceeded to like, well,
yeah. Okay, maybe not the best.
He was like, well, I just came back from New York and I had so much alcohol, so I might have to help my roommate carry it in later on. He was like, I have my own stash in my room, and we all got like pretty wasted. I was just like, I don't know if he's looking for. At first I thought he was looking for something long term, but then the way he was speaking, I was like, I wasn't sure.
All right, well, let's switch over to some of the questions because we got a couple of questions from the audience, so we make sure we get them involved. But two things before we jump into that. As a guy, I noticed is number one is that even if a girl is asking you more questions, it seems as though she may want you to ask questions because you said that. I mean, I think that's important, right? It should be a two-way street. You're trying to get to know each other. But in this case, if I was on a date and the girl kept asking me questions, I'm like, oh, maybe she does want to know more about me, right? Mm-hmm. But no, it should be a two-way street. You should proceed with asking questions. And then the second thing is like, it seems like maybe a lack of emotional intelligence. If someone's not interested in partying or doesn't party so much, maybe it's not the best thing to start talking about.
It was something he was like very passionate about.
Oh, he was passionate about partying. Okay, well, maybe he could have converted you to, rave bait or something like that. But, okay, let's go to the questions here. Asking the hard questions. Chibi Ryan says, do you care about body count? I'm not going to answer anything just because, I'm the host. What do you care about body count? That's a great question.
I know, like, at this stage in my life, I wouldn't want to date someone who was, like, a virgin.
That's an interesting answer.
But I don't think body count matters as long as they, like, have been tested and they're clean.
Okay, let's use some actual numbers here. What if a guy has 100 on his body count? Is that too much? Too little? You don't care?
I wouldn't care because if, like, we're looking for the same thing...
Oh, that does not matter.
Then it wouldn't matter if he doesn't have any, like, if he's, like, clean, yeah.
500. Don't care. Oh, so okay, that kind of answers, like, body count does not matter.
Yeah. I've had people ask me about my body count.
Do you tell them the truth? Meeting. Oh, this is a big question that I feel like guys always want to know. Do you feel as though, not you necessarily, but girls in general, do you think girls are truthful about their body counts, or do you think they lie about their body counts?
If they feel like they need to lie about their body count, I feel like you're probably going on a date with the wrong person.
But do you think most girls lie, or do you think they're mostly true?
I think I wouldn't even understand why they would need to lie, but I understand the need to lie, but I feel like they shouldn't have to if you're speaking to the right person. I
mean, it's a stigma. In society, it's a stigma.
It is a stigma.
Like the typical thing of like girls shouldn't have high body counts and guys, they're cool when they have body counts. It's a stigma and a double standard.
Yeah.
But in general, do you think girls lie, or do you think they're honest about it?
I think if they're religious, they might lie.
Okay, we can move on. Let's take a look at the. How long have you guys been dating, and how did is that your friend?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We can skip that question. Oh.
That's my friend too.
Oh, Chibi Ryan's your friend too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sucks the dude had height fear. Anthony says, what's your horoscope?
My horoscope?
What is your horoscope?
I'm a Capricorn. I was born in January.
Do you believe in the horoscope stuff?
I believe in the Chinese zodiac stuff. And to
What is your
to
Chinese
some
zodiac?
degree. I'm a boar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe in compatibility between people? Like, would you specifically search for people with a zodiac sign or
No.
No. Okay.
No. I have tried that as like a Bumble filter, but it's not really something that you can really use.
I didn't know that was a filter. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Bumble has everything.
Okay. I guess like since the question was about horoscopes, I am a Leo and then I'm a rabbit on the Chinese zodiac. Such a random question. What's the mechanism of heparin? Is your friend a pharmacist or in the healthcare field?
Which one?
Anthony says, "What's the mechanism of heparin?"
Oh no.
He's not.
He's an accountant.
That's a very interesting question. Do you know?
His boyfriend's a pharmacist.
Oh, I see.
Major. Yeah.
I see. Mechanism of heparin. I don't remember. I'm a pharmacist, but it's a anticoagulant, unfractionated heparin. Well, I guess it depends on what type of heparin. There's two types of heparin. There's unfractionated heparin and there's low molecular weight heparin. Low molecular weight heparin acts more on.
What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. I mean, we move on from that. Anyways, that's a very random question. Why are you guys so far away from each other? I don't know, giving her space. It's always good to have space. People have their own personal bubbles, so I don't want to invade the bubble there. Norma says, as a girl these days, has most of your dating experience been from online or through live media? Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, has most of your dating experience been from online or through live meetings?
As in like in the last year?
Most. Yeah, maybe let's say in the last 5 years. Because COVID's an outlier, because most people were probably online at that time. But in the last 5 years.
5 years would definitely be like mostly in person.
Okay, go, keep on.
I think like before 5 years, it was like I had kind of like a lot of like conflicting schedule stuff, like just kind of being like in school and then also like trying to like build my resume. I wasn't concentrated on trying to meet people seriously, so I would just kind of troll online or meet people that really interested me, but it wasn't like very frequent. But within the last 5 years, I've definitely done a significant amount of in-person dating.
Preference? Online versus like in person?
Well, I gave like COVID dating like an 11, so.
Oh, you really.
So I really liked like the ease and convenience of like just kind of getting to know someone and also not wasting their time.
But you never wanted that situation where like you're waiting for your vanilla latte at Starbucks and there's this cute guy in front of you and you're like you're holding like papers and you're like, oh, drop the paper. And you kind of like hope he drops it. I mean, he turns around and picks it up and you both pick it up at the same time. Like that is how I met.
Oh, like a How I Met Your Mother type of situation?
Yeah. You don't long for those. Like those are like in-person meetups. I feel like most people want to have.
I think like past Lynda would have loved that sort of situation where like maybe I'll go to the library and drop a book or drop all my books and all my backpack and whatever else. Just drop everything and hope someone would pick it up. But people be busy. Like they don't want to pick up your stuff.
Oh, okay.
They'll just walk right past you.
But then if you like drop all your books and the guy just looks at you, keeps going, he's not the one for you.
Yeah. For me, I kind of like the online dating thing because you kind of get to like understand their approach going into it a little bit more. I feel like when you are dating in person or you're dating like through friends and stuff like that, there's a lot of like, oh, does he like me? Do I like him? Are we compatible? Sometimes you really have to spend so much time with a person before you realize like, oh, actually, I don't think we would be compatible as partners. So for that reason, I'm like a big proponent, like a big, like online dater.
Okay.
I like
efficiency. There's
like pretty much all of my dating experience has come from online, other than my high school like boyfriend.
The thing I have against online dating, I think a lot of people do too, is like online dating tends to be very shallow. It like involuntarily makes you shallow because like the first thing you typically see before a bio or anything else is usually pictures. And because it's like you literally just swipe left and there's another guy that appears, there's always something better around the corner. So I feel as though dating apps or online dating in general has made people more shallow.
It has, and I was looking at this dating coach on Instagram, and she was saying, like, if you don't want to feel like overwhelmed by that type of behavior, the best thing you can do is just kind of speak to a couple of people at once, and then if you find out that you're not incompatible, then go back to swiping, but don't get so caught up in the game of swiping left, swiping right, and like getting the adrenaline rush of like, oh, all these people will find me attractive or not, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Because if you do that, then it really is a game. But if you're like doing something like more focused and you kind of like spend more time to get to know a couple of people that you have swiped on, then it feels more personal and connected. That's kind of my approach.
Okay. Not bad. There's a couple of other. Is Shelly your friend too? All your friends are watching.
Yeah, I've posted it in my group chat.
Oh, okay. That's why. Before we proceed to some of the other audience questions, let's get two things. If you guys are watching right now and you haven't liked the video, definitely give the video a like. It helps with the algorithm. YouTube loves that. And question, since we talked a lot about like worst dating experiences and red flags, why don't we ask, what are some of the things, maybe like top 3 things you look for in a guy that are green flags or why you would swipe right on someone? And then we'll go back to audience questions.
Some things that I really look for is like the potential for them to be compatible with me. I look for similar interests, similar like humor, and then also like emotional intelligence. And like something that really like draws me in is if they are more of like a doer than a dreamer. I think that's kind of like more of a newer, the one that I have discovered is like a preference of mine in dating.
Why newer, and like can you elaborate on that?
I think it's just kind of been through like past dating experiences. If someone speaks it but doesn't like have like any sort of action that they're doing, even if it's minor, like if they're not doing anything to pursue what they like try to, like if they have goals but they're not doing anything towards it, like within like a certain time period that I'm seeing them, I think that's kind of unattractive to me.
Okay. So those are the things you look for in guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm like very attracted to like ambition.
The thing is, a lot of those things that you listed, like compatibility or similar, well, maybe not so much similar interests, or like the doer versus the sayer, a lot of those things, it seems as though you have to like have met them and talk to and interact with them for a period of time before you can really assess those kind of things, right?
Yeah, I think that does come with time, but there's like certain things that you kind of can sense in like like how are you spending your weekend. If they're like, oh, I'm going to this rave, it's like,
You're not a rave bae.
How often are you going to a rave? Like, are you actually gonna like, is your goal ever gonna get met? Like, that's kind of like the things that I kind of question. Okay. It's like, you can have fun, but if you always choose to be entertained over like your overall long-term goals, then I kind of like find that unattractive.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's go back to audience questions. Thoughts on PDA?
I don't mind PDA, but I think like if you're in front of like adults, like your parents or something like that,
No.
like I think that's kind of like a little cringy.
Okay. What about now in front, like you're walking around like the waterfront or in the National Mall? There's people around, but
Yeah. I don't think like a little bit of PDA is a bad thing. It's actually kind of like nice, but if you're kind of like full on groping each other, I think that's a little too much.
Okay. No groping. That's the limit there. No groping. Okay. Moving on. Is there any correlations between body count and sincerity? I don't even know how I would answer that question. What do you think?
I think it depends on like where that other, like the person that you're seeing is in life. If they are sincere about you, it doesn't really matter. Like, they could have changed. They could maybe the amount of body count that they had helped them realize, like, this is what they like in a partner and this is what they won't seek out in a partner. If they're still, like, you know, trying to be promiscuous and stuff like that, then I would think that they would be straightforward enough to tell you.
Okay. I don't even know how I would answer that question. Since you're younger, online dating started recently.
Yeah, I didn't start, like, in-person online dating until I was, like, 20 years old. I, like, was in junior year when I, like, finally started to, like, be brave enough to, like, meet people online.
Okay. Ooh, good question. Very common question from Chibi. Should the guy pay on the first date or go Dutch?
I don't mind paying for myself on the first date. If the guy pays, that's cool too, I think.
Does it make you feel any different type of way if a guy pays on the first date versus not paying on the first date? Do you feel any different? Maybe it won't change the outcome, but does it make you feel?
I think it depends on, like, where he is in life. Like, if he, like, already, like, retired early and is, like, a millionaire or something like that, and he doesn't pay for the first date, but, like, what's going on here? But if I really don't mind. Yeah. But if they're, like, penny pinching and stuff like that, I think that's a little bit of a red flag for me.
So if a guy doesn't pay on the first date,
I don't mind paying for myself.
But do you have any expectations for the guy? How about this? You go on a date with a guy, what are your expectations of the bill? Do you expect him to pay? Do you expect to split?
I go in with the mindset of splitting.
Mm.
And if he wants to pay, he can pay. And I'll, like, get the dessert, I'll get the next one, or I'll get something eventually. But if I really am not, like, feeling it, I will for sure fight for my ability to, like, pay, because I don't want to
owe him anything?
Owe anyone anything if I don't see them in the future.
Okay. Anthony says, when is the right time to introduce your significant other to your friends?
And
I guess, like, from that perspective, I guess significant other is, like, in a committed relationship at that point.
Yeah, my friends and I have, like, different views on this. I had one friend that said, like, she likes to bring the guy around before they even get official because she wants to see how they interact and vibe with each other. I think, I don't know. I think if, like, an occasion comes up where I could bring them around, I would bring them around just to see how they would interact.
And this is in a committed relationship, or this is, like, when you're just starting to talk?
I think I would want to be in, like, a committed relationship before I bring friends around. If I'm just, like, seeing someone, I don't think I would bring them around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Next question. What is that, like, loading sign? Is that supposed to be, like, a troll?
I guess so.
Yeah. Shelly says, what are some of your pet peeves, in particular for your significant other?
My pet peeves, I guess pet peeves and, like, red flags are kind of the same thing, right? Or, like...
yeah, yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. Well, no. I feel as though, like, you could be dating someone and they're perfectly fine. Like, everything checks off. Literally, every single thing checks off, right? But then he doesn't wash the dishes for, like, a week, and you're like, no. Like, in my household, I wash the dishes every single day. Like, or, like, he...
oh, yeah, there's, like, cleanliness things that would bother people eventually, right?
Yeah, but, like, I would think of those as pet peeves. Like,
okay, so my pet peeve is, like, if their bathroom is dirty, if it's, like, dirty on the first date, that's a red flag. But if it, like, also was clean on the first date and it suddenly becomes, like, dirty and unkept after a couple of, like, dates, that's a pet peeve.
No, it means he feels comfortable around you. He's sharing himself with you.
That's a no.
Okay.
I don't like people who have, like, anime merch. I think that would...
Can you expand on that? Like, what's anime merch?
Like, My pet peeve is like people who aren't on the like financial wavelength as me, like how they decide to spend their money. If you like prioritize things differently than I am, I think that is like a pet peeve for me. It didn't hit me until I was in a situation where it bothered me, that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think this is something that I would be okay with in the future. So it's not something I will tolerate.
Do you have a specific example of financial incompatibility?
So like financial incompatibility would be like if you chose to spend your paycheck all on the latest video games.
But okay, let me just stop you real quick. Do you feel as though if you're in a relationship, you should be able, or in a marriage even, be able to dictate what your significant other spends their money on?
I think you should have like joint accounts and you should have separate accounts. I think like to an extent, if you have all of your basic needs covered, then like the excess income you have for like entertainment and stuff like that, yeah, it doesn't matter to me that they're spending it on that. But if I see like you're being really frugal in some aspects that are like what I consider essential, like you meal prepping a certain way and then you're eating like really frugally and then you like decide to throw all your money on like weekend drinks or something like that, I consider that like fiscally irresponsible. And so for that, I'm like, that's a pet peeve for me to just kind of see.
Okay. Any other pet peeves?
If someone like makes animal noises.
Okay.
That's
any particular animal or all animals?
All
animals. Okay.
All animals.
Okay, no discrimination. All animals.
All animals.
Okay, let's move on. Norma says, "How do you know those traits from just pics? And what's your friend's thoughts on splitting?" Yeah, let's start with that. How do you know those traits from just pics? Maybe he's probably talking about the good traits.
Like, how do you pick someone that you might be like compatible with on like the dating thing? You won't really. I mean, there's no way to like figure out if you are compatible with someone just based off of their profile. I think it's like a combination of how your conversation's going. Well, like on the profile, you kind of have to have like a good feeling about their profile is one. If you see something on their profile that kind of like sparks your interest, that helps. And then it's kind of more of like once you're like engaging in conversation with them, you're like, oh yeah, I think I want to like get to know them more. And then you're like getting on a Zoom call like during COVID or something, and then you would understand like, oh yeah, maybe this person likes Tough Mudder too much, or they're really into, like Comic-Con and stuff like that.
Let me ask you a quick question with that. So like it is hard to do some of the traits, like figure out if someone is compatible or not based on just the picture alone. But something else that I notice a lot is like girls would do screenings. Are you someone that usually screens a guy before meeting him like in person?
Nowadays, yeah. I would definitely screen.
Are there particular things you look for in the screening, like specific questions you ask, or behavioral trait? Like what do you look for in a screening?
So my screening criteria is it's like it's more of a vibe check.
Vibe check.
Yeah, I call it a vibe check.
All right.
And it's like it goes both ways. Like if they don't like what I'm saying, they can hang up, or if I don't like what they're saying, they can hang up. And I give them I'm like, here's this, here's the safe word. If you don't feel comfortable continuing with the conversation, you just say like, my internet's cutting off.
Okay. So you do screen people. Vibe. So vibe is like pretty subjective, just like
the vibe check is the screening.
Okay. And that's the main thing you look for then.
Yeah, I always will do nowadays I'll always do like a Zoom call before meeting in person, and it has to do with the fact that I've had so much of my time wasted before. Just going on dates where I didn't know what I was looking for. And now I look for if they are engaging in conversation, if the conversation has any lulls in the conversation. But I feel like on a first Zoom call or something like that, you're typically like just excited to talk to someone and get to know them. So it is really hard to dismiss someone based off of the first one. But there are certain things like awkwardness or incompatible hobbies, or if they just kind of rub you the wrong way.
Okay. Cool. Cool. We can go with that. Do you know your friends' thoughts on splitting?
Yeah, I have some friends who say like, yeah, you should also go Dutch. Because I've had that conversation, and she said like, yeah, go in with the expectation of splitting, and that's kind of where I got it from. Because like at first I was like, what do you guys think about this? Because I hadn't like dated before, and then they said that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's fair. I'll carry that with me in the future.
What do you mean you haven't dated before? Is this like a long time ago?
This was like I had that conversation with her when I was like very new to dating. Yeah.
Maybe for the audience out there, when did you start dating? Like, when was your first time?
Well, like, I had a boyfriend in high school,
Okay.
and then that ended at around like graduation time in high school, and then I didn't start dating, like looking for dates until I was 20 years old. So I was a junior in college. Yeah.
By choice?
Yeah, it was because I was working, and also just I was going from community college to a 4-year institution, and at the time my 2-year institution gave me like a full ride, so I wanted to maintain my grades, and I thought like if I was working and or studying and I tried to date, I think that would have like hurt my chances of maintaining my GPA, so I just like prioritized that instead. And also I like was very scared of dating at the time.
Okay. All right. Chibi Ryan with the loading gif.
Just ignore.
Shelly says, what type of boyfriend do you think you are? I'm assuming that's a question for me.
Yeah.
So we want to focus on Lynda here, but there's a main question we want to direct to Lynda. I'm just here to extract the information.
He's just the host
from her. But I don't know if I would just say like what type of boyfriend. Hopefully a good boyfriend, but you know, we'll keep it at that. Norman says, "Do you like a million buns?"
Not particularly.
Not particularly. Okay. Eyes, hair. What does that mean? What's on the pic that attracts you to the person? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, like maybe that's what Norman's asking here.
It's not so much the pictures alone. It's like the overall profile has to kind of like, for me, I look for people who are kind of like more quirky. So I think like if an overall profile is quirky, I'll definitely like swipe right.
Well, maybe like to be very specific to Norman's question here, because I'm kind of curious too, is everything aside, like personality, what they like for interests, purely physical attraction. What about a guy is most attractive or that you like?
I think someone who like
Just picture
like maintains a certain degree of like fitness. I think like
don't you want a dad bod? Like not too fit.
I don't want someone who's like married to the gym. If they are in a relationship with the weight room, I think that is like way too intimidating for me, just out of like knowing myself and like my own laziness, but also like I want them to be able to have some sort of like level of like fitness, so like they can maintain their health and not die young, you know. Like if I end up with them long term, I don't want them to, you know, suddenly hit the hit the dirt, like what it's just like midway. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone
who is
they
trying to maintain a certain level of health.
Okay, so they look decently healthy.
Yeah.
That's the main thing you look for?
A healthy, able-bodied man.
That's it. That's the most attractive thing about a guy.
No, that's not the most attractive thing about a guy. I think the most attractive thing is like their smile.
Oh, their smile.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Then we'll move on to the next question. Smile. Looks like they
smile, and then if they
themselves.
fit within like a certain body type that isn't like overly obese or overly like scrawny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. Moving on. Norman says maybe I'm old.
Norman's like on fire.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of questions here. Girls I've met don't go Dutch. Okay.
I would hope that they would pay for something down the line, Norman.
Guess not. Actually, that's my experience too. Most girls do not go Dutch, and they expect that the guy pays on the first date. What kind of girlfriend are you?
My past experience being a girlfriend is like I'm like simping usually. So I like nowadays I'm like, don't give people the girlfriend treatment wait. Too soon.
Can I just pause for a second? Because everyone defines simp differently. Can you just give like a 1-2 sentence quick definition? What is simp? What is a simp and what does that mean?
To me, like a simp is someone who's like really super like caring and like bends over backwards to like make the other person happy and stuff like that.
Isn't that a good thing then?
It is, but sometimes it's like it can get like too extreme where it's like to your detriment. And I think back then it was that way, and now I'm trying to like pull back. Like I don't.
Oh, you're trying.
I don't cook for people if we're not like official. I don't do that anymore.
Oh, you used to cook for people like before official, like on first dates.
Even like second, third dates and stuff like that. We would start like cooking and stuff.
I don't know. Like as a guy, I would feel like you cook on a second date. I was like, this is wife material. Right
yeah,
now.
I was giving them wife material before there was anything. I was just like, I need to like scale back.
Oh, but okay? So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So to Norman's question, it was, what kind of girlfriend are you? So you say you're used to be a simp, but not as much?
But now I think it's more of like a relaxed
anti-simp.
And not like anti-simp, but just like don't go overboard type of situation. But I think I'm like very caring in a relationship.
Okay. All right. Norman. Yeah, it's all Norman's questions here.
Norman's on fire.
Norman's
doing a better job hosting than you are.
There's some shade. We gotta get some shade here.
The palm tree.
We are nearing 6:15, which is probably where we're gonna end. But we're gonna maybe wrap up with a couple more questions, and then we're gonna switch to Lynda for any type of shout outs and plugs. But let's quickly see here. This is so many pictures. Pause the questions, Norman. We're about to end the live stream in a few minutes.
Norman's a curious guy.
Lots of questions from Norman. So yeah, quickly, as fast as you can, rapid fire. What's quirky?
Quirky is just someone who's like sassy and funny and weird.
Okay. Shirtless pics. How do you feel about shirtless pics?
I don't like them.
Don't like them? What if he has an 8-pack?
Unless he's doing my laundry, I don't really want that. You know, like the washboard abs. I actually like whenever I get those, I'll ask like, have you ever tried doing laundry on those? And they never respond.
It's terrible. It's just like a troll. Okay, so in general, no shirtless pics?
If they're on the beach, yeah, it doesn't matter. But if they're like just kind of doing a mirror selfie, I'm just like, this guy's a tool.
Would you swipe left just because of a mirror selfie?
Yeah.
What about a beach shirtless?
If I was looking for something serious, I would definitely swipe left on a mirror, like a mirrored shirtless pic.
What's wrong with guys with mirror selfies? Like, what do you mean by serious? Like, a guy with
like,
mirror pics.
Like if you're looking for something I feel like that. I like associate that with someone who's casual. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Norman says 4 limbs, simping, LOL. Simp is such a negative term for guys. Yeah, I think most guys do not like the term simp.
I love a simp.
Oh no. So she likes simps apparently. All right, so let us start wrapping up the live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, but we're gonna do 2 things. Let's turn it over to Lynda here and talk about, do you have any shout outs that you want to give right now?
You can follow me on my Instagram page, and then I also have links to some other referral links if you want to use Robinhood or Webull or Coinbase. So, yeah, if you ever need those, they're there.
Yeah, go check them out. It's in the description below. All the links to Lynda's shout outs are below. What about people? Any shout outs for people?
Shout outs to my friend for joining the live stream. Thanks for the question.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks, Lynda, for answering these questions.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun.
Yeah, all right. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.